Hello out there, everybody. Today is Tuesday, the 23rd of August. So time for another quick trip to beautiful Wohlen, Switzerland, still in my old shop, for another Tunesday from the shop with Skip. Hope you're all doing well. I've got a little jig that I'd like to play for you today. I've been playing some tunes recently with some people. I was in a session a couple of nights ago and this tune came up. I hadn't thought of it for a long time, so I thought it's a nice candidate for one of our Tunesday selections. It's a lovely old jig. The most well-known name for this tune probably is the Lilting Banshee. Now, of course, these tunes usually travel under a few different aliases depending on where you are. This tune sometimes is called the Miller of Glenmire, known as the Butcher's March in some circles. Also, I think the might have been the Chieftains recorded it as the Ballinasloe Fair, but I think it's probably most widely known as the Lilting Banshee. I'd like to talk to you for a second about banshees, because banshees are pretty cool. There's two fairies. So Ireland is an ancient country, was very agricultural for most of its history, meaning people living in small shacks out in the middle of nothing. And I used to live in a small house in the middle of not exactly nothing, but in the middle of not a whole lot. And you do hear a lot of strange sounds at night out in the country in Ireland, and you do see some pretty strange things out there from time to time. So way back in history, of course, people always want to have explanations for what they see or hear. And if there is no highly educated person to explain the science behind what something is, then we make up our own explanations for what things are. So people have heard of leprechauns a lot from Ireland, a very well-known type of fairy who's actually the shoemaker or the shoe fixer for other fairies. That's why you see leprechauns a lot with an old boot or a little hammer or something, because they were the shoe repairmen for the rest of the spirit world. But banshees were something quite different. The term banshee comes from an old Irish word that loosely translated means the woman of the fairies or the woman of the fairy mound. Banshees are usually associated, it's always a female specter, always a woman, sometimes a beautiful woman with long hair, but a very melancholic feeling about her. They were often looked at as a harbinger of death, that there is about to be a death in your family if you hear the cry of the banshee. Historically, if you go back to about the 8th century, this is the first time you start hearing about banshees. And probably what it comes from is there was a tradition in Ireland of when there was a death, women would be hired. Their profession was to come and cry at funerals, loudly, shrieking, wailing. Keening is the word that was used to describe this type of crying, and the people who did it were called keeners. Now, the keeners were often paid for their services in alcohol, and because of that, they were looked at a little bit as damned souls who, upon their deaths, would become banshees, who would travel the country lamenting or forecasting the deaths that were about to come into a family. So there you go. That's what's up with banshees. And now, to the tune. So there you go. The old Lilting Banshee. Hope you enjoyed that tune and the wee tutorial on the history of banshees. I know some of you really like these little informative bits, some of you not so much, but what the heck, I like talking about this stuff too. So, listen, get out there, take care of yourself, take care of everybody around you. Love your family. They're the important thing. See you again soon with our next Tunesday from the shop with Skip, and be sure to go to my YouTube channel to catch up on any of the 299 other videos you may somehow have missed. Oliver Clem, my webmaster, thank you very much for uploading all this stuff. You're the best. Cheers, everybody.